The information expressed in the following podcast is intended for educational purposes only and was created by and belongs solely to Believe Limited and the Flow podcast and does not necessarily reflect the views of our sponsors. Please speak to your healthcare provider before making any medical decisions.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and welcome to Flow. I'm here with Sarah Watson, sex therapist, and we're going to talk about Hello Period, menstrual care for the new world. But first, we all want to know, how's your flow? Welcome once again to Flow. We start our Flow with a quick check-in to normalize the reality of menstruation. So let me introduce Robyn McLean.
Hi.
I did it right.
Yes.
Robyn, she's with us from New Zealand. We coordinated through time zones around the globe to have Robyn with us today. Robyn, thank you for being with us. Can we, right off the bat, ask, how is your flow?
Oh, my flow is always a challenge. So I'm going to say that it is bearable, but you know, I love that you guys ask that question straight off, because that's what we're all about, talking about periods and being more open about them. So Thank you for asking.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Hello. We love to. That's what we're here for, talk about, especially when they're extreme. Yeah. Sarah, how's your flow?
I am in the follicular phase, I believe. I have an IUD, as we all know, and I think that's what's happening. Feeling a little crampy today, which is a bummer. It's been a long week, and I'm real tired. So thinking things are happening. So we'll see.
Things are happening.
Yeah. How about you, J. Rich?
I just wrapped up bleeding, and I gotta say, it was like a real solid bleed. Meaning like there was some extremeness to it. There's a lot, but also afterwards I felt like I was completely out of me, which is an interesting place to be.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
And I had a great time managing my menstruation this round and for the last several rounds with the orange menstrual cup from Hello Period. I have been a fan and user. I know there's so many more products now, menstrual underwear, reusable pads. We want to get into all of it, but before we do, we have to play this quick ad break. So we'll be right back.
This ad is brought to you by Von Vendi, Von Willebrand Factor Recombinant.
My name is Nicole, and my deciding factor is making my voice heard. To hear the backstory, drop by Von Vendi, that's VONVENDI.com/patient-stories.
Robyn, we're back. Hello.
Hello.
Hello Period. Here we go.
Yeah.
Can you just give us the quick rundown of the amazing products Hello Period has?
Sure. So we, when we first launched, we just launched with a menstrual cup, the Hello Cup, which is what we were actually called back then. And then we decided that really to fulfill our goal of being able to help anyone with a period, we needed a range of products, because not everyone wants to wear internal products, and also not everyone is the same. So now, rather than just a single cup, we have our regular cups in 3 sizes, but we've also got cups for people with high cervix, low cervix. We have a menstrual disc, which we launched at the start of 2022, which is now our best seller and can be worn with an IUD. Sarah.
That's what I was wondering about. I was ready to ask you about it.
And period underwear and washable pads. We've covered all bases.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to hear about the anatomy being taken into consideration in our
Well, it's really interesting. You know, one of the interesting things that when we launched, we realized that how little even people who had periods knew about their own bodies. Yeah. We were really surprised. It's like, actually, let's get to know our bodies, ourselves, and not be afraid about, one of the things that has happened with people using products like tampons with applicators is that they've almost become scared of touching themselves.
Yes.
I'm sure in sex education, or the lack thereof, at least in this country, we talk about it often, this shame or fear around one's own body, one's own reproductive organs.
It's really, I hope and I feel like it is changing, but it's crazy that we've created so much stigma around things that should be so normal and celebrated.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, hello. That's why it's good that it's happening now. We are awake and alive in the time it's happening. What's in a name? Hello. Why hello? Is it part of the hello?
Yeah,
Hi, here's a period.
It is part of the hello, but it's also we were really determined to have something that was positive and welcoming, because again it goes back to the stigma and the negativity around people with periods, and just actually let's welcome our period. We're not saying periods are easy for everyone, but each month they happen for half the world's population, and let's just go, hi, welcome back. Again, going back to talking and being more conversational around period talk and our bodies. So, yeah, we felt that there were some of the other brands that were on the market all related, their names were similar to the sort of lunar cycle, and maybe that was playing to a certain audience. We just wanted to welcome anyone with a period into our gang.
Love that. I would say, and your design and your marketing is so welcoming. I just love it. It just seems happy. And I was like, this is just so, I just love the website and loved seeing, and I think I've seen your stuff on the shelf before. So it's amazing to be like, oh, hello, there it is. Hello. Just seeing it. So,
no, that's lovely. I mean, that's what our aim was. I think periods, you can still have period care that makes you feel good or that you love and you cherish. If you're putting something inside your body, you want to know that it's well designed and well made, and there's no harm in it being quite cute as well.
Right.
No harm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And no harm in the care products taking into consideration the variety of shape, diameter, and type of anatomy that we're dealing with in the vaginal canal, or dealing with what do you want to call the positioning of the cervix, the height of the cervix within the canal? How would we talk about it?
Well, there's all these things that come into play that, again, we haven't really been told to look out for. So some people will have a low cervix, some people will have a retro cervix, so not as in retro from the 70s, retro as in tilted in a certain direction.
Tilted, yeah.
And again, until you feel relaxed and you get to know your anatomy, you have no idea. We need to be comfortable going, okay, I'm going to insert my fingers into my vagina and work out where my cervix sits, and that then informs you about how your menstrual cup should sit, or whether you need a menstrual cup that is for a high cervix because your vaginal canal is quite long, and or your cervix is right there, and therefore you want something that's going to be comfortable for that, which would be a low cervix cup. So again, it's just education. The more we talk about it, and if you say to your friend, I've just discovered I had a low cervix, they'll go, well, I don't know where mine is, so I'm going to find out. And here's how we can help with, here's how you do it.
I love
Amazing.
that.
So just getting into the amazing cups and discs themselves, for example, with a low cervix, this is a podcast. Do you mind describing the shape of the kind of product that goes with a low cervix versus a high one?
A traditional menstrual cup is almost like a shot glass, I guess. Shape with a stem. But if you have a low cervix, so your cervix is sitting, your vaginal canal is quite short and your cervix is right there when you insert a finger, the stem on a regular menstrual cup will poke out and will annoy you. So our low cervix cup is really just a beautiful rounded shape which will still collect your menstrual blood, but it has no stem. So there's nothing to poke out and irritate your body. The base is really smooth, and the aim of what we do is to create products that people want to use because they're more comfortable than traditional single-use products. So the value of switching to sustainable period care comes in that it's better for you, better for your body, better for the environment, and better for your wallet, because you're going to save money over time because these products last for years. Yeah, a low cervix is a squatter version, and then of course a high cervix cup is like an elongated shot glass with
like a champagne.
Yeah, like a champagne flute. That's right.
All right.
Yeah, with a and again the stem on that will be longer, so you can reach it, and it's all about getting them out.
And when you mentioned poking out, that means the toggle or the bottom of the cup in a low cervix could actually be poking outside of the vulva, like actually be out, right? So this would
That's
be
not
much more manageable.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one wants stem coming out of their vulva.
No.
I think so.
No, that's
I don't know.
No.
Don't check
Not
the
for your
dark plan
period,
for
right? Yeah, you know.
yeah.
Maybe in other aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Not for
speaking of
this.
which, isn't some of the products are also recommended can be worn for sex during period? Is that right?
Yes, so that is one of the best reasons for switching to a disc. If you already use cups, you know, they will sit in the vaginal canal. So, you know, probably not room for two things in there at once, but the disc will sit. So again, to describe what it looks like, it's a, I don't know, maybe very much like a diaphragm of days gone by, which used to be very popular and you don't see them as much now, or maybe a shallow petri dish that you would use in a science experiment. So it's wider in diameter than a cup and shallower, but it actually holds more because it's larger overall, and it sits just below your cervix, so at the top of your vaginal canal in an area called the vaginal fornix. So if you're thinking of the vagina as a street, and then you can think of I don't know, do you say cul-de-sac in the US? Like a dead-end street where you know, that's kind of the vaginal fornix. It sort of opens up, which is why the disc is able to be larger. But because it sits so high, you've got a free passage in your vaginal canal, which allows for you to have sex or use sex toys or whatever you want when you're on your period and have no mess. So, of course, there's nothing wrong with having sex when you have your period.
That's right.
But the benefit for some is that if you use a disc, you don't have as much laundry.
Right.
You know, for me, that's a real win.
That's a win.
Yeah.
I love that.
Consume
Well,
some
and
water.
you're thinking, yeah, and I think it's just thinking about, like, I have clients that often talk about being aroused during and having desire during their period, but being like, I don't want to deal with the mess, right? Like,
Absolutely.
or their partner doesn't want it, both of them,
Yeah.
or one of them is like, no. So
Yeah.
this solves that problem.
Yeah,
And I can stop recommending black towels. It's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
be
right.
great.
You do recommend that.
Still laundry. You know, it's just because you can't
Yeah.
see it, it's still laundry. It's a really, really game-changing aspect
I love that.
to what we do. And also the other bonus is because it's sitting high, the way a disc stays in place as opposed to a menstrual cup is your disc is going to tuck behind your pubic bone. So it doesn't rely on suction, which is why you can wear a disc with an IUD. You know, with a cup, you can still, you know, we have plenty of customers who wear their Hello Cups with an IUD, but you do have to be more mindful that it's held in place with suction, and when you're taking it out, you've got to make sure you really break that suction because no one wants to dislodge their IUD.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never had one.
thank
and
you.
I know that no one wants that. No.
Nope. No thanks. That's amazing. I love that. I can't wait to talk to clients about that and my friends that are using.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it.
I just keep picturing a shot glass, a champagne flute, and a petri dish.
That's going to be my holiday chat, you know, at the holiday parties. Be like, y'all, look what I know about now. It's going to be great.
You know, that champagne flute is the same size as the high cervix hello period there.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
You know, it is amazing that you mentioned it saves you money. It's better for the environment. You're doing good business. I like to call it compassionate consumerism. It is about getting a new product that's going to help stop the flow of old products that are very detrimental to the environment and to our own bodies. Or in the end, you know, there's a better way. There is a better way. And you're doing business within them to support menstruators.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could talk more about what inspires you in that.
Well, I had terrible periods when I was growing up, and, you know, we had no choice. You know, you had pads or you had tampons, and they were both single use, and neither were ideal. But I remember the shame and the, you know, the stigma of kind of having your period when you're at school and having to stuff the tampons up your sleeves so no one knew you had your period, and going off to the bathroom and unwrapping the wrappers really quietly. And, you know, so I guess the benefit of sustainable products is, first of all, they hold a lot more. For people who are at school and getting their periods, a menstrual cup or a disc will hold 3 to 5 times or even more than your average tampon or pad. So you're winning in that respect, but also from an environmental perspective, I often say the first tampon ever used is still on our planet. They look like they are nice and cottony, but they have microplastics. And even if you're buying an organic tampon, they still take at least 8 years to break down, whereas a regular tampon will take hundreds of years. And so if you start doing the math in your head and think, well, okay, we've got half the world having a period and for 40 years of their life, we don't talk about the waste issue that single-use period products generate because people don't like talking about menstrual blood. And we want to talk about the fact that, yes, sustainable products might look different, but they're generally amazing and more comfortable. So if we can get people to make the leap and try something new, I mean, most of our customers would say they would never, ever go back. In fact, all of them say that. And so I think for me, that was a real motivator in starting the business. I have a daughter, and Mary, my co-founder and best friend, has 3 daughters, and she's a nurse. And so, we were thinking about them and thinking about what we wished we'd had growing up. And it's not about telling people what they should use, it's about giving them the choice. And period underwear, our period underwear is absolutely amazing. That holds the equivalent of 5 pads. You can put it in the washing machine, you can put it in the tumble dryer and use it time and time again, and there's just no need for the status quo.
Our listeners with extreme periods, with bleeding conditions that require extra usage of menstrual products anyway, this is a game changer, revolutionary way to exist.
Yeah, that's right. You've got more hours in your day. You have something that is totally more reliable. I mean, people will always ask us, can you wear a menstrual disc or a cup when you're asleep? I was like, yeah, you can do anything. You can literally do anything. You can swim. You can go to the gym, you can run a marathon, you can do whatever you would do with other single-use period products, but you'll find them more comfortable and they last longer. If anyone's been swimming with a tampon in, it's disgusting. You've got half the pool or half the ocean going up there too and into your tampon, and whereas a cup or a disc will provide a barrier to the water, so nothing's going in any further.
It's just physics. The physics of it makes so much sense. It's such
a
amazing solution.
Yes.
Great.
I'm also thinking of those clients and the women that we've talked to about who will have to use a super tampon plus a pad and just pads. You say, or 2 pads, right? And just knowing that how that's going to change their lives.
Yeah. Well, that was me. That was me super tampon would last an hour, and so spending all the time going into the bathroom, and now with our Hello Disc that holds 50 mils, so that's 8 regular tampons. It's a lot. 5 super tampons. So it's really giving you freedom for those people who have real issues with flow being heavy.
Robyn, you sound like you might have a bleeding disorder with all those crazy, I'm just saying.
What's been really interesting having this company is how many of us have sort of almost suffered in silence and not talked to people and not had the information to know what is normal and what's not normal. And again, because actually, if you go online, there's still all this antiquated information that says, the average period you lose 2 tablespoons or something over the whole course. Well, for a lot of people, I'd lose that in a day easily. But there's no way to measure your menstrual blood loss unless you were using a disc or a cup, because it's absorbed into pads and tampons. So again, you're getting all this knowledge that you can then take and talk to your specialist or whoever you see about your flow.
I love that. I love it.
And is this what you're doing? So, Robyn, we also know through how in the magic world of menstruators I ended up getting to get your email and have you on Flow is because someone I know in New Zealand went to one of your events. Can you explain what you do to gather women and what's going on there to share some of the information and knowledge that you're gaining?
Well, anytime we're asked to speak anywhere about this, we will say yes, because this is the reason. This is how I came, as you say, this is how I came to be here talking to you. It's just, we just want to get that conversation going. The more of us that are talking about it. So yeah, we'll speak at schools, we'll speak at any gathering, we'll speak at businesses, we will sell our souls, we will go anywhere anyone asks at any time. And I particularly love talking to groups with men in them, because at first I felt like men wouldn't want to hear about periods, but what's been really interesting is how many actually enjoy it, from the sense that they gain a lot of knowledge, and that periods affect everyone, whether they have them or not. Every man or every person that doesn't have a period loves or lives with or knows someone with a period. So it is, there's 0 degrees of separation when it comes to how it.
If I may, in their day, they may interact with someone who has a period.
Absolutely.
What would you say? Half the population, we've recently found out there's 8 billion people on the globe, according to Instagram, so who knows? But I just mean 4 billion menstruators. It's good for us all to know what's going on with the flow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And why haven't we been talking about it forever? So
yes.
Old
Agreed. Yeah, old white men. That's my favorite line. Old white men.
Yeah, and also, I guess back to the product side of things, is we would never have been able to exist as a business if it weren't for social media and being able to communicate directly with people and our customers. So that is why up until now, the businesses that sell single-use products have dominated the market, because of course they're driven by their desire to make profit, not to make the world a better place or make periods more comfortable by producing something that is reusable. That's not their driving purpose. They want those 4 billion people to be buying their product every 4 weeks, and so they keep making money. And the thought that, we could make something that actually people can use by once and it lasts for years, that's just not in line with our desire to make squillions. But we've never come from that place. We've come from a place where, like I said before, we want people with periods to have choice.
Speaking of choice,
I know.
We've spent the end of last season talking about what's going on with access to abortion, and since we're talking about choice, just wondering if you could express, as someone involved in the menstrual care business, menstruators' access to care in New Zealand. Are you involved in what's available? Could you speak to our audience about the comparison, how things work there?
In terms of period care or abortion?
So abortion care, but accessing OBGYNs, accessing any kind of care. Do you feel like the medical care there is informed of menstrual experience, or is that lacking as well?
In terms of menstrual experience, I think it is lacking. I think it's lacking globally, to be honest.
Agreed.
There's really not enough research that has been done into menstrual health, how it impacts people, how it impacts them in their work. So I think in New Zealand we have a pretty good, robust health system, although again, like so many around the world post-COVID, they are stretched and understaffed, and I think that has an impact across all areas. But, we watch from a distance with the complexities of the health system you have in the US. But interestingly, we do have OBGYNs here, obviously, but we don't. One of the things that I really admire about your healthcare system is how it's prioritised. People seem to have an OBGYN. I don't. I go to, we go to our GPs, our doctors for cervical smears, and, it's not as specialised as how you guys seem to do it over there. And I love that you separate it out so it's more of a priority. I know that there's a lot of things that you probably hate about your health system, especially
It's amazing to get a compliment on it. I don't know. I feel a little turned around and disoriented. I guess that's better.
What do we do with that? Yeah.
It really is that we don't prioritise it here in the same way. But our health system is great in the fact that, we do have access to abortion care and specialist care if we need it. But, there's never going to be a perfect system in the world.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big
But we will take progress. We don't need perfection. We just
Yes.
need progress at this point. But
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
systems.
last year
I'm so
was a big
curious,
one
those
for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This year's hitting hard too.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure is.
And sorry, I'm just so curious. So your GP, if someone, do you feel like in New Zealand was suffering from fibroids, for example, or some kind of menstrual condition, their GP would be informed?
Yeah, you'd
on
go to
that?
them
Like,
first. Normally, I mean, most people would go to them first, and then you would then be referred to a specialist. But for the majority of people, you wouldn't just go to an OBGYN if you were having menstrual problems. The GP is always the first port of call. It's interesting. It's very different.
It is.
Yeah.
It is very different.
Yeah.
Thank you for that knowledge
we're
about
like-
the healthcare system in New Zealand. I'm just, do we move? Can we move? No, we're doing work to believe in the progress of systems here. We are recording this in November. We're going to be releasing this in January. It's January 2023. Pause here for a second. Let's check our time. We're at 30 minutes. This has been so enriching.
I have a thought and a question, and you don't have to go there, Robyn, if you don't want to, but I was curious about, you said you have a daughter and your co-founder, your best friend has daughters too, and I'd be curious, how involved are your daughters in the business? Are they involved in the business? Do they know what's going on? Is it like, what kind of generational involvement do you two have? And I love that you're running a company with your best friend.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that.
It is amazing. It is amazing. Yeah, so our daughters are a range of age. So my daughter is 20 and Mary has a 21-year-old and then a 16-year-old and a 7-year-old. So she's covering all the generations, sort of like, she's got them in all stages. Yeah, I think when we first started the business, they were a bit bemused and thought, oh, well, I'm never going to change what I use. And my daughter is now a huge user of our products. And when she started, she used the Hello Cup. And then when we launched the Hello Disc, she was like, no, I'm good. I'm fine with my Hello Cup. And I was like, no, you need to try it. And now she's all about the disc. So and it's so great, because what it means for us is, they're the proof that the next generation is obviously the future. They are our focus in that they like to know what they're putting in their bodies. They like to know what they are made from. They like to know that what businesses that they are buying from, what they stand for. It's very different. And the fact that they do their research, they buy much more mindfully than my generation. And we absolutely love that as a company. And, they're the ones that inspire us.
Love that.
We'll add, I believe the children are our future right here.
I believe the children are our future.
I just was writing a blog and just on that topic, and I was like, wow, as Whitney Houston said, children are our future.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
And they are leading us well. It's already happening. It's
They totally are. And I really hope, I say it time and time again, I really hope that single-use period products do not exist in 30 years' time, that the only way you will be able to see what they look like is by going to a museum and looking at the history of period care.
Or that. Is there that first one? Is it like a Jurassic Park situation? You said the very first tampon is still on the earth. I know. Should we get Jeff Goldblum? I don't know. See if we can
uncover it.
see what happens. Encino Man style.
Yeah. That was a wild fact. I mean, I appreciate you sharing that, right? Like, that's insane to think about. And how can we?
Yeah, I mean, we all assume that they're just going to, disintegrate nicely and just vanish. But no, they don't. I went for a walk on the beach the other day. The first thing when I stepped onto the beach with my team from Hello, we were having a strategy session where we were like, let's go for a walk on the beach. The first thing that was on the beach was a sanitary pad. Used. It's disgusting.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. There's trash never goes anywhere. It just goes. It doesn't go away. It just goes somewhere else. Right. I have a friend with a young one who she repeats that too, and that's the reality we're living with too. And as menstruators, we need to care for
Yeah.
the blood. We have to care for the
Yeah.
blood. And
Yeah.
there's so many things that are needed. How do we make sure that those things aren't just going to stay around?
Right.
It's a heady space to also reduce shame for the blood.
Yeah.
Because we are saying it's a problem. Like we have to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Be curious what you think, Robyn. There is a ethos, an idea that the earth needs blood. It's part of the ecosystem to receive menstrual blood. So we've actually been doing a disservice to the earth by trying to contain the blood away from soil. And that's part of our environmental collapse.
Well,
What if the earth got the blood it needed?
It's interesting. A lot of menstrual cup users collect the blood and put it in their garden or on their plants, and so they do that. They do practice the return of menstrual blood.
Love it.
So,
More practice to the return of menstrual blood. Yeah.
It's awesome. Fantastic.
Here's to that. Well, thank you for helping menstruators everywhere upgrade. We like to speak for all menstruators occasionally on Flow. So thank you. Thank you for leading the way with great business. And we look forward to attending your speaks in the U.S. when
we
you
can't
get
wait.
here.
I love being over in the US. It's bloody brilliant, as we say. We say bloody brilliant.
Yeah, what was the other word we started with? What did we? We're cold here in
Jumpers.
Jumpers,
The jumpers, because I'm wearing a jumper. My new jumper.
which is, for those who don't know, a sweater.
Sweater.
What else do we got? Bloody brilliant means very good.
Yeah, bloody brilliant means very good. But we also, one interesting, we have a tagline in New Zealand and Australia, which is fanny-tastic, because in New Zealand and Australia, your fanny is your vulva, but in the US, it's your bottom, right?
Bum.
Bum.
Your bum.
So the tagline just doesn't work. So we don't use it.
Or we need to get with the times.
Yeah,
America
that's right.
needs to-
One way or the other. But
I just wrote that down.
Yeah.
I'm going to incorporate that. Thank you, Robyn.
Fanny.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Front bum. The fanny. The vulva. We need more words. We just need to say them more.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
I mean, and again, we say whatever word you want to use is fine. Just get to know your vulva, your vagina, your fanny, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Just make it, be friends.
Make it your friend. I love that. I say that to clients all the time. So I love that. I'm like, it's your friend. Like, it's a part of your body. Like, let's know that part just as much as you know the rest. So, love that. Thank you, Robyn. We really appreciate
It's lovely to talk
you being
to you.
here. Lovely to talk to you, too.
You take care and stay warm.
Yes.
Thanks. That's it for now. Join us next month to talk menopause, and then the second Thursday of each month for more straight talk about extreme periods. Flow is produced by Bloodstream Media and edited by Kay Vermeil. Shout out to Flow's creative director Amy Board and hosts Jessica Richmond and Sarah Watson. New episodes are available the second Thursday of each month.
Hey, that's the day after I start menstruating.